This is a major crisis for China, especially in terms of economic slowdowns. So we are seeing that the other group, which is led by Lai I-chung, the prime minister, is gaining more and more publicity these days. They are either showing on the People's Daily or they are in the CCTV, calling for people to increase their production. I think with October is the 20th Party Congress coming near in. And now is the time that people are trying to figure out who is going to be the 7 standing committee member of political bureau in the next round. So I think Xi Jinping is under tremendous pressure because of this. And if the economics cannot speed up in the next couple of months, if the COVID cannot be fight correctly and then successfully, Xi Jinping will have a hard time trying to make himself a legitimate leader for the next 5 years.
Dr. Lai, do you agree that this history-making third term, if that's, I've read what you said correctly, could be in doubt?
I have to say that yes, there are the signs that it seems to suggest that the outside of Xi Jinping, the Lai I-chung become another center for the power, and there are 2 different directions about the national development. And some people, especially, they are very disappointed about the way Xi Jinping handled the COVID. But I do not see the signs or the evidence suggesting that Xi Jinping anyway will not be able to succeed in his third term. Of course, all the internal struggles, basically the CCP itself is very opaque. No one could actually see through what is happening there.
Let me add one more thing. I think except COVID and economic pressure, there is a third one, which is there's a strong criticism on how Xi Jinping has been handled foreign policy, especially its fight with competition with the United States. It's on board with Russia in the Ukraine conflict. Those are the very bad foreign policy decisions. So I'm still watching how the China will react to Quad and also react to Biden's Taiwan comment. I mean, these are the sensitive moments.
Do you believe that the US can still support its one China policy, as well as Biden said, intervene militarily to defend Taiwan?
I think one of the things that come out from the U.S. one China policy is that it had put up with a new condition, meaning that the precondition is China cannot use force to achieve its unification. Of course, U.S. will agree that that Taiwan and China can be unified in the future, but this have to go through in a peaceful means and have to depends on Taiwan's people's own will, that you cannot force upon the Taiwan people will by force.
Dr. Lai, do you agree about that? Or is it that the US actually doesn't take a position?
The US does not take any position on the Taiwan's sovereignty or the status in its relation with China. And also international scholar, especially the scholarly or the legal counselor within the State Department, still maintain the position that the United States still maintains the so-called Taiwan status undetermined, that legal interpretation regarding Taiwan. So that that is a part of the development of the San Francisco Peace Treaty. So that no, the United States does not take the position whether Taiwan is a part of China.
Would you agree with the calls for strategic ambiguity to become strategic clarity?
Right now, the strategic ambiguity does not seem to serve the function to deter China from its military maneuver or aggression against Taiwan. From year 2016 and onward, we started to see the Chinese military assets, whether that's aircraft or the vessels, keep approaching Taiwan and in a more aggressive manners. Last year we already have about 1,000 Chinese aircrafts enter Taiwan's ADIZ. And this year, and I think the pace will be, it will break the record last year. And also the issue about the Chinese international isolation campaign against Taiwan in the last 2 or 3 years also intensified. But now that it seems that all the international gatherings, as long as it's international, no matter it's a political or non-political, the Chinese position is that no, Taiwan cannot step into those gatherings. And that kind of the increase of international campaign against Taiwan.
A day after Biden's comments, Dr. Lai, 4 Chinese and Russian bombers flew close to or into Japan's and South Korea's air defense zone. And since then, China has also announced military drills around Taiwan. But why didn't we see a reaction that was much stronger and more immediate?
I thought that signal about the China's and the Russian military aircraft joined together, flying across the Japan and South Korea, that already sent very strong signals. I'm just wondering that should Stringer want to be any stronger? What would that be? Firing missiles to the Japan Sea?
I think because there are only 4, right? And we're used to how many? 20 in a day?
In the past, that last year, we do see that there are the 10 ships fly from China, from Russia. They sort of encircle the whole Japan during one exercise. And also the China and the Russia, but separately, enter or the flow the proximity to the Japan airspace. So this is the time that the China and the Russia they flew together. And right after the Quad meeting. So it is not just about U.S.-Japan. It's about the joint response to the Quad. So it means 2 things. First of all, despite the outside observers looking at the possible drift between China and Russia, especially looking at the Russian military performances in the invasion against Ukraine, at least the Chinese action this time is telling everyone that we're still with Russia, and this is an axis we are bonding together.
Would you agree that it's a symbol of their no limits partnership? And how does the US, or how does the US trilateral group, US, South Korea, Japan, how would they take that message?
I think it's really a very clumsy response from Russia and China. I mean, for the China's sake, China had been saying to the US and the world that they are not in alliance with Russia in terms of the Ukraine affairs. Now you are proving yourself that you are really in a military alliance by having this joint flight with Russia. And as for Russia, the Quad joint statement had been avoid mentioning the name of Russia because India had been objecting to this. And now Russia is now coming up hand in hand with China in response to Quad. I mean, these are very clumsy response. I don't think they are acting very well according to this, right?
Mm-hmm. Would you agree, Doctor?
Yeah, I think that's exactly, that also shows the kind of the subjugation by the Russia to China. So that some people argue that at the invasion of Ukraine is the Putin hijacking Xi Jinping into his war on Ukraine. But I think that this time the response by the Russia flew with China to the Quads, basically Russia is listening or working through the Chinese command for this. So yeah, that's a clumsy response.